Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of MPJ New Rock Album Review Show. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck. I don't know what I'm saying this morning. What am I saying? Good day. Good day to Trish, to Chris, to Lauren, to Andy, and to Paul. Welcome, gang.
G'day.
G'day. So, today we're reviewing Hinder and Back to Life. We are then going to rate them out of, we're going to tell you what we think and then rate them out of 5. Let's see if they get into our Hall of Fame, maybe into Album of the Year. Now, coming back to life, we have Andy. Andy.
Oh, you're being nicer now, aren't you?
Indeed.
It's always quite interesting, sort of like working out where bands are and what they're doing, especially if they're a band which has been around for a fair bit of old time. So this is a band here where they've had a existing vocalist, but the vocalist has left, and then new vocalist comes in. And it's always interesting when that happens because it does sort of like change either the dynamic or the sound of it, but it's also where they are as a band. And for me, this is a band which is sort of like there wasn't much there. It almost seemed like this is a band which was going through the motions and sort of like doing it for the sake of doing an album through for it. There was very little here which I sort of like found which really stood out. I did enjoy it to a degree, but it was like sort of like it sounded like it was a little bit dated, but there wasn't a huge amount of love for what I was listening to in terms of like nostalgia or anything like that. So it sounds like I'm being quite harsh on it, but yeah, it was okay. But there's I won't say anything about the music too much because there wasn't anything really huge about to stand out, but it was all right.
Well, somebody who always stands out, and that's Lauren, because we do love Lauren. Yes, I am being nice on episode 8. Listen to episode 7, maybe on episode 9 I won't be, but episode 8, crack on. Lauren, what do we think? Did this bring you back to life? Did it bring you back to life, Hinder?
Well, yeah, so I hadn't heard of this band previously, even though they have been around doing some bits and bobs. On the face of it, I looked at the cover art and stuff like that, and to see if I could try and get a vibe for what I was going to be listening to, and I couldn't really tell much. It sort of thought maybe we're going to be heading into like the pop punk sort of vibe, maybe because it gave that sort of noughties 2010s sort of cartoonish vibe. As I started listening through it, I actually really liked it, mainly because it does have those threads of like that noughties grunge rooted in the 2010s emo era sound, which I'm so here for. Anyone who knows me knows I love going to emo nights, I love going to grunge gigs, anything like that. It's the sort of thing that I really enjoy. I thought it was produced really nicely. The only place where it lost a little bit of luster for me is I found I was having to cherry pick the stuff that I liked out of it. Whereas, like, for me to score super highly and hit that top mark, it's got to be like I'm taking the whole thing and I want to consume it all the time. Favourite track was Everything is a Cult, just because I really love the rhythm of when they're just going, everything is a cult, everything is a cult. I really loved that. So yeah, overall, totally in my wheelhouse, really enjoyed it. Just think other parts of the album could have been brought up in strength, but overall, a really nice offering.
Somebody who is always a very nice offering. Always. It's Chris. Chris.
Are you sure you're feeling all right today,
Feeling fine.
Yes.
Feeling fine.
Cool. So yeah, I have to agree almost entirely with everything that Lauren just said. It's a case of there's some powerful rock in there. There's some classic vibe to it as well. There's a bit of grunge. It does take me back to some of the stuff I was listening to when I was at uni as well. The first note I wrote about this album as I was listening to it was everything is a cult cracker. That was it. Brilliant song. I thought it went really well. I do also agree. As Lauren said, there are some great songs on there. There are some not so great songs on there. So you can't take it. Doesn't get to a great album because the whole thing doesn't mesh fully. But I really enjoyed listening to it. It's definitely got some of my time. I do. One of the things I do want to say, there's a lot of stuff online. If you just look up Hinder There's a lot of stuff in there about them hindering themselves because of the change to the artist and all that sort of stuff, and the change to the vocalist. To a certain extent, people just kind of have to roll with it. You know, these things happen for reasons that are best known to the band themselves, and it's not, it's not the lead singer's fault now that there is a history there. But it does kind of, in those odd moments when I'm either drunk enough or bored enough to have this conversation, if you're going to change your lead singer and you change the lineup of your band, maybe you change the name so that people could distinguish it a bit easier. I don't know. There's a few classic cases where you bring a new person in, you entirely change the style of the band. At that point, just change the name as well. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah,
well, I'm not sure you can
album.
because you need access to all of the back catalogue stuff. So I imagine which is a tribute to the name of the band. I don't know, but yeah.
There's probably stuff there that I'm not realising, but it just feels like that would make things a bit easier for people to stomach. But anyway, cracking album. But yeah, need to. It hasn't got the quality all the way through, so there's some good, some not so good.
So, talk about back to life, and she's not been with us for a couple of months, but she is now, and nobody's going to hinder her. Oh, no, not at all. She's back. So we'll go to Paul. No, I'm joking. Trish!
Okay, so the opening track didn't draw me into the album immediately with its softer approach with just the guitar chords. I thought it was going to be very melancholy for an opener. But then the beat hits the track and your ears prick up. Now we're talking. What follows is a mix of country, heavy, melodic rock. It has catchy choruses like on the track Rear View. I bloody love the track Everything is a Cult, which gave me sort of Falling in Reverse vibes. I like the rockier, upbeat tracks as I'm not really a ballad chick. I would describe this album as a warm, fluffy hug to your listening ears. It's solid. It may gain new listeners to Hinder, but will for sure keep their loyal fans happy.
Wowzers. Now, loyal fans are always happy when they hear the dulcet tones of Paul from South Wales. So, Paul, Hinder, back to life.
Hinder, yeah, it's a word that I think of when myself and my fellow podcasters want to move forward, but you do hinder us quite a bit.
That's my job. Yeah.
And unlike you, Nigel, who's not a pretty picture, for me, the Hinder will be the album cover of the month, without a shadow of a doubt. A fitting introduction to an album that has been 8 years in the making. Back to Life is a well-balanced album on what can be defined as a less heavy affair of the style of grunge alternative rock from that demonstrated on the previous album, The Rain. In doing so, they've not reverted to type, and as such, Back to Life seems fresh and relevant in today's musical environment. For me, it was a grow. I didn't like it at first, but the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And sometimes that's important when you're looking at an album.
Yeah. So we recently kind of and we review pretty much once or two albums a month. We call it the classic 80s kind of genre rock, and it's got to stand out. This was what you would say a classic noughties indie rock album that you almost feel you've heard it all before from various different bands, and you go like, have I heard that tune before? Have I heard that in something else before? And yet at the same time, I couldn't help but enjoy it. I suppose I could feel like I've been mugged by a friendly mugger who's literally stood there and going, I'm really sorry, I've got to take your money. I'm really sorry, but would you mind? And I'm going, yeah, no, I don't mind, take it. And I'm there going, I feel I've heard all this before, but it's of such good quality, and it's such headbanging moments like Everything is a Cult, which I really, really enjoyed. I think everybody says that is an absolute banger. The other song I really liked that maybe it was Live Without It. I just feel mugged, but I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it. And I just kept going back to it again and again, and I thoroughly enjoyed the album. but at the same time, I felt I've heard it before. Very much similar to when we say, "Oh, that this has that '80s kind of rock style," and I genuinely feel, well, I've heard all this before, but it's just such good quality that I didn't mind hearing it all again, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable album. And I'm a mug, but there we go. That's hit my buttons. Right,
Your mug has just been mugged.
Yeah, honestly, genuinely, that's how I felt. I felt like, no, I can't. I shouldn't like this because I've kind of heard it all before, but I really liked it. Right, okay, let's find out. Will it get into our Hall of Fame? Will it get into our top albums and maybe even make Album of the Year? I feel some positive vibes. So let's find out, shall we then? Andy, let's start with you.
I probably did liked it the least of everybody here, but I still gave it a 3. So.
Oh, okay. Lauren.
An extremely strong and well-deserved fall.
Ooh, strong and well-deserved. Cully.
I gave it a 4 as well. Laura and I seem to be on the same wavelength this month.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? Trish.
3.5.
Ooh, okay. Paul.
I'm enjoying the full band.
What is happening with consensus here? I give it a 4.5. But there we go. I've been mugged, and I'd be happy about it. I'm not reporting it to the police. I'm not taking it to the music police. I'm happy about that as well. Andy, we're dropping your 0. Paul, what's going on, mate? You haven't had any scores drop so far. What's happening? What's happening, brother?
Yeah. But Andy didn't give a 0.
No, but he's dropping it. You give a 3, but we're dropping his we're making it into a 0. It doesn't count. It's probably what I was trying to say. Gives it a 4. Average of 4. Gets it into our Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Hinder. You are in our Hall of Fame. So basically, out of the 546 albums, 100 almost made the top 100, 102nd. That's how many great albums we listened to. 30 for the 30th place for the month, and a very, very, very crowded great albums. But congratulations to Hinder. Welcome to our MPJ Hall of Fame. What do you all think out there? Our wonderful listeners, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. You agree? Do you disagree? Let us know. Always good to get a comment. And please like it and subscribe. Thank you very much. Thank you to my crew, to Paul, to Andy, to Trish, to Lauren, and to Chris. Goodbye for now.
Bye.